Looks like I picked the wrong day to stop listening to this episode of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Reflux capacitor, fluxing, crew to stations. Scanning for airplane, 1980. Prepare to rewind in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 years ago. I am your captain of the pod, Francisco Ruiz, and I'm joined by your XO and mine, Paul, the master interrupter, powers out.
Thank you.
Are you nervous?
Yes.
First time?
No, I've been nervous lots of times.
All right. Also, for this discussion of the film Airplane, we welcome aboard for the first time, maybe he's also nervous too, a Star Trek DS9 analyst, a fan of video games, and amateur astronomer, Eric Olson, a.k.a. D. Tungsten. Welcome, D. Tungsten.
Hello, it's great to be here.
It's great to have you here as well. In addition to Eric, we have back aboard a collector of all the VHSs, like all of them. You think your VHS is safe? No, he will have it soon enough. He's also a former podcast editor and considered by many David Bobke, a.k.a. That's Our Bobo. Hey, Bobo.
Hello, and I just want to tell you both, good luck. We're all counting on you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope to hear that more than once.
Yeah.
Wow. Now that you all have a quick flyby of who we are, Paul, can you give us a quick overview of the production specs for Airplane?
Okay, hold on. I was about to say hold on to your seats and buckle them up. I don't know. Put your tray in your upright position. We're about to take off because Airplane was released July 2nd, 1980, runs an hour and 28 minutes, and is rated PG. Really? Interesting. It was written and directed by J.J. Abrams. Sorry,
What?
no, that's Jim Abrahams. And also with the help of Mark Zuckerberg. No, wait, that's David and Jerry Zucker. With lead stars being Robert Hayes, Julie Haggerty, and Leslie Nielsen. The music was composed by Elmer Bernstein. All right, so you ready for the box office trivia game?
I am ready. Bobo, D. Tungsten, are you guys ready?
Yeah!
All
Yeah.
right. And then chat, feel free to join in with this. Go ahead, Paul.
All right, Airplane was made for about $3.5 million and earned over $170 million at the box office.
Whoa.
According
That's
to
a lot.
some sources. Other sources claim only $83 million. But I blame Mad Dog Tannen.
I guess that's still more than it's how much
It's way more, yeah. So given the fact that this was released theatrically in 1980, how high do you think it ranks among the other theatrical movies in the box office? We'll do top 50.
Top 50 movies. Okay, let's start with Baba. Where do you think it is? 42?
I want to say 42, but I know it's probably higher than that. So I'm going to say... I'll say 4.
I thought he was going to say 42.
Is this profit or gross?
This
I think
is
it's
how
gross.
much it made, not counting so gross
Yeah, gross.
Okay.
and not inflated.
Right.
Unlike Otto.
Well, it's just versus all the other movies that year.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
So it doesn't.
I will
mean-
tell you that Empire Strikes Back was number 1 that year.
Yeah, I knew that. I was going to say that. I knew that.
Oh,
And
sorry.
I knew
take
it was
that
that
away
year.
from
What?
No, that's
Who
all right.
watched
That's all
that?
right. Yeah. So I know it's not number 1. But it's got to be up there.
me. Yeah.
I'll just say 6.
6, okay. Let's see. In chat, we have several guesses, all pretty high also. We have NLCast, or also That's the Ratio. James says 17. Owaz says 14. Cellcast says 12. Redeemed Otaku says 19. And I'm actually gonna, this is domestic, I think it was. I'm gonna
This is
lowball it.
worldwide.
Oh, never mind. It's worldwide, international. What
Yeah.
do I know? I'm gonna lowball it and actually say, I'm gonna say 37. I feel like other movies may have probably made more. So I'm saying 37. What is the final tally, Paul? Or where did it end up in the top 15?
Number 4.
Dang it!
So D.
Wow.
Thompson.
Babo actually.
Babo.
No, Babo had 5
Oh, he beat you by 1.
or
He had
4.
five,
No,
I
he had
think.
4.
No, he had 4. Yeah, I wrote down 4. So
Did
Yeah.
he?
No, yeah,
Well,
he said
shows
4.
what I know. I wasn't paying attention to people's answers.
Well, he said 4, and you
That
thought
was
he was
me.
going to say 42.
That's
Yeah,
right.
That's right.
That's right. How could
Yeah.
I forget? This old age
Yeah.
is coming back. All right,
That-
here we go.
I agree, James. It is crazy, right, Redeemed? Number 4 in 1980. All righty. Well, good job, Airplane. And thank you for those factoids, Paul. And let's see if any of them factor into our memory mind meld or subsequent roundtable discussion, which we will get into once Alice has located our target film.
Alert! Alert! Approaching target. Spoilers incoming. Establishing analysis vector.
Nielsen and Robert Hayes had an all-star cast that take off on a hilarious flight. Watch out for Airplane.
Yes, watch out for Airplane. But you should really watch out for our memories of Airplane, because who knows how accurate these are going to be. But we merge them all together to give you our memory mind meld synopsis, which is: in the midst of the great Girl Scout war, former fighter pilot Ted learns he's about to lose the love of his life, Elaine. He's determined to get over his PTSD and board the passenger plane she works on to try to win her back. Everyone on the airline flight comes down with food poisoning if they ate fish. Can't get past my drinking problem. Pilot who can't fly anymore is recruited to surely be their only hope. Ted deals with a sick flight crew, bad weather, and a brief encounter with Shirley before landing kind of safely in Chicago. I picked the wrong time to quit sniffing glue or doing cocaine. Oh, I feel like that's a holdover from someone. The plane lands, but there's still an unsolved mystery as to why the fish was poisoned. And there's multiple unsolved mysteries, I'll say. But based on those memories, I would say that, yeah, I'd say pretty much all that was right. I can't think of anything that was off. Yeah, so I guess no deception this time, which is quite surprising.
Yeah.
So, like I said, based on those memories, which apparently were completely accurate, what rating did they lead us to predict for this film, Airplane, before we rewatched it? So, classic, nostalgic, or tragic? Let's start with D. Tungsten. What was your prediction before you sat down to rewatch it?
My prediction was classic.
Classic. How about you, Babo?
I said classic as well.
All right, Paul. How about you?
Knowing that this is a comedy and it's chocked full of jokes, not everybody finds comedy all that the same. So I predicted nostalgic.
Nostalgic. I predicted classic as well. I remember really enjoying this movie every time I've seen it. I've seen several, maybe a handful of times, probably not that much, but I remember always liking it, so I predicted classic. And it'll be interesting to see if those predictions come true. But first, let's get into our discussion of the things we liked most about Airplane. Let's spin up our...
Best 3.
We have clearance, Clarence. Roger, Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
Yep, exactly that. Though it's going to be just the best 2. So one thing we liked in there are classic makers. And let's start again with D. Tungsten as our newest guest. What's something you liked about Airplane?
Okay, well I'm gonna do number 3 and number 2 then.
Okay.
Okay.
Number 3 is, and I think Francisco will like this, is, there's actually a real story in this. It's not just skits and things.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So much better than some other movie.
It's a silly story because it's a comedy, but it actually has a story.
Mhm.
Yes.
I very much, I approve of this. I'm glad you're here to make
That's 'cause they
excellent
stole
points,
it.
D. Tungsten. So what's the movie that this is based on? Like
Zero Hour? Yeah. So
Yeah.
basically they saw the movie and then they basically copied it and then they bought the rights to it so they can make the film for it.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
So is it kind of like how Scary Movie was a ripoff of pretty much mainly Scream, some other things, but mainly Scream?
I no, because it's more of a rip. This is more of a rip off.
Oh,
There
okay,
is some
all right.
stuff they directly stole from Zero.
Right.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Have any of you seen 0 Hour? I have not.
I have. It's been a while.
Sadly, I
It's
couldn't find a copy.
Yeah, it's definitely slower paced.
Okay.
and if you've seen any of the airport movies, they've also took from there. That's also, those are all more serious. It's all basically the same kind of plot, but
It's like a disaster movie in the air, right?
No,
Oh,
I wouldn't say it's a quote unquote good disaster movie in the air. But it's taken the same premise but making it serious.
Got it. Okay. Let's go to Bobo next. What's something you enjoyed? Was it that this was for it being a comedy, it was still a cohesive story, or was it something else and something else about it you liked?
It's tough to actually pick between my classic maker and my other like, but I've got this one second, so this will be my first like. It's the cast. The casting of this movie was just sheer brilliance. To have a comedy that is as ridiculous as this is, and to go completely straight with it.
Yes.
Between Robert Hayes and Leslie Nielsen, who was only known for doing straightforward roles,
Right.
serious
Up
stuff to that point. This really revolutionized his career. Peter Graves and Robert Stack and Julie Haggerty, who I guess this was her first movie.
Oh, really?
And I think I read that somewhere.
That's interesting
Off
because
IMDb.
she beat out Shelley Long and Sigourney Weaver for this role.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, and
I
she's
feel like
brilliant.
I would
Yeah.
prefer Sigourney Weaver, but okay, that's cool.
Nah.
And it is. I read IMDb trivia that sort of speaks to exactly what you said, Bobo. That apparently they casted actors that had only been like just in non-comedies before because they felt like that straight man's sensibility would play way better in a comedies. And I feel like, yeah, for the most part, that's pretty true.
And the directors in the commentary said that they found those serious actors more funny than the comedians at that time.
That's it right there.
I wonder what comedians would have thought of at that time.
Well, I was thinking like the original cast of Saturday Night Live with Chevy Chase and Bill Murray and all that.
Yeah.
Yes, that makes sense. Okay, got it. Well, that kind of goes into the thing I liked, which is I feel like this movie does a good job at being funny in a broad range of comedy. From there's slapstick, there's sort of reversing your expectations, puns, innuendo, through lines, and several callbacks, like lots of different
Running
variety
gag,
of comedy that I feel like this does on the whole well. There's one element that I would not agree they do well, but
So there's something in there for everybody. Like
Yeah,
you may not like
Yeah.
all the jokes, but you're
Exactly.
gonna
Right.
like some of them.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Paul, what's a good point you have about what you liked?
I really enjoyed seeing the cameos, at least the people that I recognized, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and
Yes.
Mrs. Beaver in there.
Yeah.
Mrs. Who?
Cleaver.
Barbara Billingsley.
Leave it to Beaver's mom.
Excuse me, stewardess. I speak jive.
Yeah.
And it's the old lady speaking to the two guys. Anyway, like the people that I recognize, not that everybody recognized. There are some people in there, like I'm sure, like I was like, okay, that's supposed to be somebody, but I don't recognize who they are. But the people that I did, I enjoyed seeing them.
Got it.
Chump don't want no help. Chump don't get the help.
That was I still enjoy that part.
Yeah.
Excuse me, stewardess. I speak jive. So silly.
The fun part is the translation is actually mostly accurate.
Yeah.
Well, was that an actual thing? I remember
Yeah.
Ebonics
Back in the
being a thing.
70s, that was
Yeah,
even
I
more
was-
popular.
actually-
Yeah.
It's
wow.
kind of like some of it's like when you go to like a short order cook and they have special things for saying stuff. It's like that.
Oh, okay.
Remember when
got it.
Ebonics used to be more popular of a thing? It's kind of like that.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what I
that-
just
yeah.
said, Paul. I
Oh,
just said
sorry, I
he
wasn't
did.
listening to you, just everyone else.
Why would you? I'm just tempted. Okay. Awesome, guys. Well, then that leaves our classic makers. What did we love most about Airplane? I mean, was it the constant sweat from Robert Hayes? Was it the fish and bones? I mean, who knows I mean, let's solve this mystery about what our favorite things about this movie were. Let's start with Paul this time.
Basically, what you said, Francisco, is the jokes. Is that if you want to watch a comedy, this like I said, it'll have something in there that'll make you laugh. Not everything in there will, and you may be offended by some of it, but there'll be something in there that'll make you laugh.
Exactly. So if you're looking to waste an hour and a half looking for at least one laugh, you got this movie. I think that's what you're recommending.
Yeah, that's basically what I said. Yeah.
Let's go to Bobo next.
Yeah, same thing. It's the comedy. I love the variety of comedic things they do here. I love miscommunication humor.
Yeah.
So, like that.
Yes.
It's a very brief scene, but the one with Leslie Nielsen and Peter Graves.
Mm-hmm.
It's maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds at most, but I could watch that scene for an hour over and over.
Awesome.
Just miscommunication, the callback, all that, the different styles you already talked about.
Yes.
Love it.
Awesome.
Golly.
Yeah. Leslie Nielsen really stole his scenes.
Well, okay, fine. You know what? Fine. Just call out my classic maker, Paul. Jeez.
You're welcome.
Stealing my thunder.
You stole mine, I stole yours.
Fair point. Leslie Nielsen was just definitely the standout for me. I felt like he had the best comedic moments, like you said, the one with Peter Graves. I felt like all the Don't Call Me Shirley is just like such a thing in like comedic zeitgeist and such a thing in pop culture. And I think because of the way he delivered it, there's just so much. The moment where he's giving a OBGYN exam, I guess we'll say. And it's like, what's going on up there? That was just so ridiculous.
Unexpected.
Unexpected. I just, stuff like that. I felt like he did such an amazing job with. So I really enjoyed him. Let's go to, then I guess that leaves D. Tungsten. What was the thing you loved most about Airplane?
Well, I was going to go with the Don't Call Me Shirley, but I knew someone else was going to say it. So, it looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking. That whole bit, like
Bridges
the callbacks,
in this.
everything.
Yes.
It was.
Yeah.
I remember liking that, like, when I watched it back in the day, and I just remember it just gets funnier and funnier, and he's like on the ceiling and with sniffing the glue and everything, and I was on the floor, I think, laughing. In the living room when I was watching that the first time, because I was like 13, so it's the funniest thing ever, Yeah,
totally. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool, guys. Man, this is fun reminiscing about the things we liked. And there's something else I liked.
You sound disappointed, like you don't like it that much.
Did you forget something, Francisco?
I'm disappointed in myself for forgetting things. That's what.
Don't be hard on yourself. You're old like me.
Probably that second cup of coffee yet.
Surely you jest.
You know what? Let me just get out the thing I like, guys. How about that? Helix Reviews. David Arrington is the host of the Helix Reviews podcast. In every episode, he breaks down what he does and doesn't like about the movies, video games, and comics he's reviewing, and also discusses the themes, messages, and ideas they portray. You can find Helix Reviews on your favorite podcast catcher or at helixreviews.blogspot.com.
That's great, but what does that have to do with Airplane?
Well, Airplane's a movie, and he covers movies.
Wow. Let's pull up some Siskel and Ebert.
All right, fine. It was probably my worst tie-in, Paul. All right, fine. How about let me.
No, it wasn't.
Well,
so close.
You want out this ship, Bobo? Because there's the escape hatch right there.
I was wondering why I'm sitting next to the airlock.
Well, because you said you were more comfortable with like having the leg room of it. So just like on airplanes, you get more leg room, and if you're near the emergency exit. Regardless, let's talk about some trivia about Airplane. Would that make you all happy?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Let's talk about Airplane.
Apparently, Paul's speaking for everyone. Did you all realize that for the argument between the announcers concerning the white zone and the red zone at the airport in the very beginning of the film, the producers hired the same voice artist who had made the real-world announcements at Los Angeles International Airport, LAX, for those that know. And they're also married to each other in real life. Or, I mean, I imagine they may have passed away by now, but so they were married to each other. Given that, if you could choose to do a voiceover for some business or government agency, which would you choose and what would you want to say for it? So let's start with Bobo.
I'm thinking I'd want maybe the CIA.
Ooh.
Primarily for the phone lines. If you ever call them, you got to put them on hold. Yeah, you got to put them on hold and just say, like, hey, please hold. Just remember, if you do hang up, we know where you are, and we'll call you back when we're ready for you. No, just kidding. Just kidding. No.
Nice. I like it. Oh, goodness. Or, like, just hang on the phone so we can see where you are. I mean, so that we can get to you in a timely manner.
Have a seat, get comfy. No, not there. Over there. Yeah.
Right. No, the white phone.
Wow. D. Tungsten, how about yourself?
Well, similarly, like, I was thinking I would do NASA, and then I would say, we faked the moon landings. Because I think that would be really, really funny.
Yes. I think it would be.
Not that I actually think that they faked the moon landings, but
wink, wink.
No, I mean, I just gotta say that because I wouldn't do it for real because
you're stuck either way. No, there's no getting out of it.
Well, I mean, we all know that they couldn't have faked it because, I mean, the moon landing is the clearest evidence that we're living on a flat Earth. I mean, when they took that picture,
there you go.
It's this flat circle, obvious.
Yeah.
Okay. Paul, how about you?
I think that'd be funny.
That would be funny. I agree.
So the government part sticks in my mind as well. And since I don't do voiceover, we're in the realm of fantasy. I'd like to do a voice. I'd like to be able to mimic the voice of Nicolas Cage. And then I would be, when you go to Washington, D.C., I would be right where you could see the Declaration of Independence, and I would be like, I'm more of a Constitution protector, and I would be telling the history of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, and just using his voice, or maybe they would have like an animated show or a hologram in the future. When you press
a button, and it gives like a recording.
So I think that would be fun to do. I mean, it would be better if he did it, but since we're in the realm of fantasy, I think that would be fun.
That would be fun. Awesome. We have we have a couple from our Twitch or chat. Redeemed Otaku says a skyscraper elevator operator would be for her, and my line would be, "Hold on to your butts."
Let's move this elevator.
Exactly. And then Owaz says a PSA for the IRS. All right, there you go.
We're coming after you. The more you know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, awesome, guys. Thank you so much for just sharing those funny things you would do.
Great trivia, Francisco. And I have the answer to our audience's previous question, which again was...
Paul, before you get into that question of what the last audience question was, Bobo did clarify what he would want his voiceover for the IRS to say. He would say, "We are refunding all your money and closing our doors. Sorry for stealing your money."
Don't think a government can work that way, but that'd be nice.
Yes, if only.
It doesn't work anyway.
Oh, good point. So let's get on to our trivia question before they shut our doors down.
Wow.
Which our last audience question, which again was, which iteration of Batman is your favorite? We got a couple answered, and
answers. Yeah, that's my typo. Sorry, Edna mode. That real quick. I should have just let it go because I could have edited it out, but no, I want to.
It's another Edna. Brilliant. We got a couple of answers, and though we appreciate getting one from Drew Doggin, Bobo wins with his answer, and he says, "Do you remember what you said, Bobo?"
I don't think I said anything. I think I typed it.
All right. Well, you typed my favorite Batman iteration of the ones I've seen is probably Michael Keaton. Could be serious, could be a little kitsch. I don't know what that word is because I have a 4th grade reading level, and he goes on to say, you go on to say, he could be whatever type of Batman was asked of him. That's true. He can go crazy or serious or whatever.
Totally.
So now here is this episode's listener question. What is your favorite airplane?
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Send your answers for what's your favorite airplane.
Like airplane movie, like airplane.
No, just the type of airplane. It could be
Aeroplane.
Airbus. It could be Boeing.
Snoopy
737.
fighting the Red Baron.
It could be SR-71, F-14, whatever. It could be anything. Yeah, it could be the Red Baron triplane, whatever that's called. You choose. What is your favorite airplane? Send your answers to trivia@retrorewindpodcast.com by the time we record our next episode, which usually gives you a week and a couple days. If you're listening to this on the day it drops as a podcast, if you're watching live, you have definitely more time than that. But now that we have all had some trivial fun, let's find out what memories you, our awesome rewinders, had about airplane. Kevin Joshua Burnham opens this up by saying, I remembered wanting to review this with you guys, and it's old enough. What's going on, emoji? So, a reminder to Kevin and anyone else who would like to possibly guest host on the show, please, you have to be a part of our Discord. Go to retrorewindpodcast.com/Discord to join it. And whenever we have a new block of movies that we're going to cover, then we will open it up and say, okay, if you'd like to guest on this, then react to this post with whatever emoji aligns with the movie. I just pick out emojis that make sense with the given movie or game, and then, or probably just movies. And then you can react to the ones you want to be guest on. Then I do some calculus to figure out who gets to be on what. And
did I hear calculus?
Boo! No, you didn't. That's how, for instance, Bobo and D. Tungsten were on because they did that process, and that's why they're here today. So
drop the restraining order.
Oh my word! So Kevin, I think you're on our Discord, but in case for you and for anyone else, in case you're not, that's how you can be a guest or possibly
check
be a
all
guest.
the boxes.
Exactly.
All right. So Reed Benson goes to say about the movie Airplane, not about getting onto the show, but he says, I saw it well after it was already well known. I liked it for the most part, but some of it was surprisingly risque. I got to tell you, I think this is the first time I've seen the non-networked viewing showing of this movie, because I was shocked by apparently stuff that I don't remember ever seeing.
Yeah. Michael Withers says, and don't call me Shirley.
Yeah, Drew Dodgen says, this is the... What?
It sounds like you're saying Drew Doggin, but yeah, it is Dodgen. Just making sure you're saying it right.
Dodge that one. All right. He says the best joke in the film that very few people get, the sound effects for the jet engines are the sounds of a propeller-driven plane. Also, I've seen Zero Hour, which this movie adapts the script of, which is a lot more serious. It's interesting to see how much context changes the feel of the movie, even when they are saying the exact same lines for most of the movies.
Mm-hmm. That is interesting. Plus, I mean, it's similar to, if you've ever seen the fan or YouTube made, someone took the trailer or the clips from Mary Poppins and made it into like a horror movie called Scary Poppins.
Yeah.
And just because of the way they cut it and the music they use, it's just interesting how you can completely change the tone of something. Becky Smith, also known as Redeemed Otaku, says the stewardess singing to that poor sick child and unplugging her IV. It kills me every time. You know what's funny?
It definitely gets a reaction out of me.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I love that woman's voice. I forget the actress's name, but she just does such a. I don't know if it's her actually singing. Yeah.
Oh.
I just that. And something about that song, this is the only place I've ever heard it. I really enjoy it. It is funny when
I really couldn't tell because I was watching the girl and I was going like, oh no, and then she was making that stupid fish face, which helped.
I didn't like that. It's like, why would she be making that?
But it was funny. But yeah.
It was. I read it in the credits. It was written by Peter Yarrow of, I believe he was of Peter, Paul and Mary.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So,
Okay. I can see that.
All right. Stanley Wright says, I remember watching this with my daddy. We loved this type of humor. I'm calling it a classic a little early.
All right. Fair enough, Stanley. And Alex Ortiz ends by saying, okay, so we all know and love the joke. I take my coffee black like my men. But the reaction shot of the little boy and the blood instantly draining from his face, filling with insecurities, will always be funny to me. Yes, indeed, Alex. And Alex's comment leads us right into the things we didn't like about Airplane. You know, maybe filling Airplane with insecurities about what we're about to say about it. So let's bring up our worst three things about Airplane. I'm going to start with this one. Thank you, Paul. Yeah, our worst two things.
If I may, before you start,
go for it.
I just want to tell you both. Good luck.
Yes.
We're all.
Oh, thank you.
I thought you were serious then. So the thing that I didn't like, and this is I'm starting this off because I feel like you guys will be able to instantly tell me, oh no, this is the reason behind that. But we're talking about how some of the things are unexplained before.
Oh no, you're looking for explanations in this movie?
Yes.
Oh no.
Do you guys remember there's this woman that she gets a call to wake up to go to the airport, and there's a horse in bed with her.
Yeah, the pilot's wife.
Yeah.
That's the pilot's wife.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't get that. I didn't know who it was, and why was she...
Hey, old man, are you watching with subtitles on like I told you to?
Is this when you fell asleep?
I didn't fall asleep, Bob. No, I just did not... I didn't catch that. That's the pilot's wife. Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
The pilot that had passed out from eating chicken.
Yes.
Or fish. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so see, I knew it was going to be something very explainable. I went the whole movie wondering, who are you? Why do you care so much?
I know this is frustrating, Francisco, but it's probably...
I got picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
I don't smoke, Paul. All right, so let's go to someone who probably has much more...
You definitely picked the wrong week then.
Yeah.
A much more substantial dislike. Let's go to D. Tungsten. What's something you didn't like about Airplane?
The thing that I didn't like, especially watching it now, was when they said smoking or non, and I was just remembering when you used to smoke on airplanes.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't because I was a kid, and just how gross that was.
Yeah. Even in the non-smoking section, you can still smell it. It wasn't as bad. But
but it's not like a restaurant. I mean, restaurants were like that too.
Yeah.
But all that air is recycled, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they do actually pull that from outside, but it's tiny. It's a tiny little enclosed space where stuff, you know.
Though I did like the joke that his ticket is smoking.
That was hilarious.
Funny.
Yes, the joke was funny, but I was just reminded of that. So it wasn't really inherent in the movie. It's just like, oh yeah, I remember when that was a thing, and I was just like, you.
And that's fair. OAS does mention that they run the air through filters, so I guess that's something.
They
I
do,
feel like
but
you could still smell it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah.
It's a tiny space, enclosed
Especially
space.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially if you have that cig of weed.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Is that a Rush Hour callback?
Yeah.
Okay.
or if you're like, you know, right next to the smoking section.
Yeah. The
Doesn't
closer
seem like
you
it.
are, yeah.
Exactly.
Doesn't do
OAS
anything.
says that was more of a joke than serious. Well, now you're just giving us fake news. What do we believe, OAS?
Because get it? There's filters in the cigarettes.
Okay. Let's move on to Bobo. What's something you didn't like about Airplane?
Well, I have to give somewhat of a controversial take, potentially.
Okay.
But
potentially.
Yeah. Because I mean, there were a couple things about this film that had the fish, shall we say? And one of them. Pause for reaction. Okay. I didn't hate everything about the character of Johnny, but about half of his jokes were more distracting from the rest of the movie to me.
Was he the flamboyant one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
he was
We were
the
just
Johnny Big
discussing
Tree.
that. Yeah.
Rapunzel!
Yes.
That guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the stuff totally worked fine for me, and some of it I thought was a little too showy and just
Yeah.
not as good as the
Unnecessary.
rest of the movie, basically, which is a high bar, but
I totally agree. Like, yeah, he had some real good hits, but when he missed, it missed. So
Yeah.
I can totally see that. Let's see. Then I guess at least Paul was Johnny or another one of the characters, someone that you didn't care for.
I thought he was fine. He tried a little too hard, but
Like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking.
the main guy, Robert Hayes as Ted Stryker, I thought would have been better with a more comedic person in that role, even though that they purposely hired, straight men for this. That was their vision. But I thought I think it would have been better having somebody who had more comedic chops as the main guy. I mean, he doesn't have to be like, I understand he doesn't have to be telling all the jokes or anything, but I just found him a little too stiff for my liking for a comedy.
I part of me wonders, and Bobo, D-Tongues, feel free to add to this. I almost wonder if it's more the editing, because it seemed like they just held on him or waited for his reaction a bit long, like they could have cut it to his reaction a bit faster. And I wonder if that had more to do with it, because I did feel like at times like, you gonna say something? You gonna react to this? You're just, I'm waiting for you. We're waiting.
Well, that might be, more in the editing of today's audience is we're used to more fast pace, but I think just overall it would have been nice to, as the main guy, he's the main guy for a comedy. And I understand, he's reacting, or a lot of the things are jokes around him. So you build the story around him. But it would have been, like I said, he's a little too straight and narrow for my.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Anyone? I have an idea for who I'd cast.
Don Knotts. No.
No, it's way too wacky. Okay. But do you have a serious, like, who you would recast, possibly?
No, I haven't really thought that much about it, no.
For me, I think Tom Hanks would do a good job in this
Back
role.
then, I thought of that, but he was still a TV star. I don't even know if he started Bosom Buddies by 1980
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is
okay.
1980.
Okay. Then maybe he would have been a bit too young. But okay.
But yeah, he would have been a better choice. Just what we know of Tom Hanks, the younger Tom Hanks, yeah.
Oh, I know. Kirk Douglas. Come on, Spartacus. Okay. Then, with that out of the way, that leaves our tragic makers, the things we hated most about Airplane, the things we just wanted to see crash and burn about this movie. Let's go to Bobo. What did you hate most about Airplane, Bobo?
I'm not the most prude person in the world, but there were a few too many naughty jokes, I thought, in this. A lot of those kinds of jokes were very easy jokes that I think they could have replaced a few of them with something a little smarter. And I don't know. I'm not saying remove them all necessarily. I thought some of them were still really funny, even if I thought they were a little gross or whatever. But I think some of them worked. But again, it's just some of them kind of missed for me. Or you guys could do something better than.
It's like I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamines.
Wow. So, Baba, I'm right there with you. That's pretty much verbatim my tragic maker as well. The only thing I'd say is that, of the sexual humor in this, yeah, like you said, there were some things that were funny, but I felt like for the most part, because I don't mind sexual humor if it is funny, but I feel like most of it in here was the funny didn't outpay or didn't outweigh the grossness of it. Like maybe this is just me being more and more getting
Crude?
crotchety and old, but like the abortion joke at the beginning, I was like, why are we starting the movie off with that?
Yeah,
and
that's actually taken from one of the earlier films that they.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait,
the unwanted
Zero
child.
Hour or something?
Yeah, it's either 0 Hour or Airport. I forget, but that
the announcers talk about that.
Well, no, but there are characters that do. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I could see it being a spoof of that.
Yeah.
That makes a bit more sense having that context. But regardless,
But it's surprising that was one of the lines that they lifted.
Yeah.
And so for the majority, most of them like that were. I could see that they're going for humor, but I'll say the grossness of it sort of outweighed the humor that otherwise there would have been. So if you're gonna go for that, fine, make it super funny, super tight, super just like a really sharp-witted joke. But for the most part, I feel like most of these were not for what they were trying to do. So let's go to D Tungsten. Was it the same thing? Are we gonna have a?
Yeah, it was basically the same thing, but I got a specific one that was the reinflating of the autopilot. Just see when I first saw that
so much, but okay. Fair.
Well, when I first saw it, I didn't get the joke.
Yeah, me too. There's so much of that.
So now when I see it, I'm like, oh, yeah. So it kind of. Just that one. The rest of it's fine. I love the bit at the end, like where he winks, because he's got the girlfriend. And
yes. Yeah,
but yeah, that one got me, and I didn't remember the abortion joke at all.
Okay.
Like, so when I saw that for the first time, I was like,
exactly.
What was that? And then the other thing I actually didn't catch was the newsstand. I didn't remember that from before.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That I thought was funny though. I actually liked that.
Yeah, it was very subtle.
But it was
I liked
over
that.
it was subtle. It was over the top if you actually were paying attention.
Exactly, yeah.
Because there was
Oh,
but
that's another thing. Peter Graves, his character's pedophilia. I was like, just stop,
that
please.
That
was overboard
to me. That was so ridiculous. I didn't have a problem.
All right, I mean that's fine.
He kept his pants on. I mean,
that's true.
I mean, you know what? That is one that I used to think was really, really funny, and then now it's like it's less funny as I watch it now. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it's sort of a balance. If it's and I think it just depends on where you are in life, how different humor hits you in different ways. Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
So where you are in life, Francisco, do you like gladiator movies?
Oh my gosh. I like Gladiator. I don't know if I like Gladiator movies. Wow.
Have you ever been in a Turkish prison?
No, I mean I saw a Turkish prison in Robin Hood Prince of Thieves and Robin Hood Men in Tights, but other than that, no. They seem fun. Paul, why don't you cap us off with your tragic maker for
I'm going to go in the same but slightly different direction. And basically, I think this movie suffers from, I think a lot of the jokes are just plain over the top. And now it suffers in a way that I think the more recent Adam Sandler movies suffer. Is that if you watch it, it is funny. There are jokes in it, but a lot of it is over the top. You take the movie where he teamed up with Drew Barrymore in The Wedding Singer originally, and then more recently he re-teamed up with her again in the movie Blended. And Blended, there are more over the top jokes in it, just like his other recent. If they had toned it down, I think it could be just as lovable and I forget what other lovable adjective you want to put in there, as the original, and more liked and more well received by the public. And I think the movie would have been stronger for it. So a lot of these jokes that I like, we were mentioning the certain types of jokes and certain characters were over the top. I think a lot of that, if they didn't have to make it serious like the movies it was based on, but kept a lot of the humor in it that wasn't so much. And I think the movie would have been better for it. So that's my tragic maker.
I could totally see that. Yeah. Fair enough, guys.
Picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Oh my gosh. Are we just going to go through each and every one of them?
That's the joke.
I'm V Tungsten. I'm hilarious. Calling out there.
I know we're talking about Airplane, but the jokes just went over the head.
My gosh. I know what? No, I can't tell. I can't figure out if I hate more that you guys are just like making these great jokes at my expense or that I'm not coming up with them at your expense. I just don't know which I hate more.
You just got to remember what Robert Stack. You got to remember what Robert Stack told Lloyd Bridges. We are the joke.
He said that? When did he say that?
Not in the movie. It was.
No, it was.
They were having cocktails together.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, guys. Okay. Well, awesome. Now that we've entered all our trajectories into the firing computer, Alice, do you have a firing solution for us?
Firing solution complete. Rating salvo at the ready. On your mark.
Do we rate Airplane? Airplane! From 1980, a classic. We'd recommend anyone go and see this movie, whether or not they've seen it before. A nostalgic, it's worth your time to rewatch if you remember liking it as a kid or a young adult or in whatever you've seen it in the past. It's worth your time to watch again or revisit. But if you've never seen it before, maybe just leave it alone, watch something else. Or do we rate it a tragic? No matter whether or not you've seen it before, don't seek out this movie. If you have fond memories of it, leave those memories intact because rewatching it will sully them. So let's go around and start with our newest guest, D. Tungsten. What is your final rating for Airplane?
Classic.
Classic still, really?
Yeah.
That's like, I can't believe it. Why would it still be classic? No, that's awesome. Okay. Very good, very good. Oh my goodness.
No, I'm serious. And don't call me Shirley.
What is your final rating?
Before you guys give your ratings, I just want to tell you both, good luck. We're all counting on you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And also,
the Retroverse is counting on us. I agree.
Also, quick shout out to Lee Bryant, who was the wife in this movie, who we didn't really talk about. She was the one that they were trying to settle down, and they slap her and shake her like crazy and all that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
According to the IMDb trivia, she suggested that, and that was like the one thing they improv. That's such a great scene. And I was actually concerned because she got shaken so doggone hard.
And you know, I hope they didn't really hit her, but it looked like they possibly could have.
The second one did.
Was it Nielsen's of the two? Yeah, it wasn't. He wasn't trying to, but it did. It did.
Oh,
you know, that's another mystery about the thing is why didn't she get sick? Because she had the fish.
Did she have the fish? Yes.
Maybe she passed out later because the captain was later. Maybe she ate it later.
Oh no! She vomited up all the eggs. Because apparently the fish laid eggs in her mouth.
Oh, was that
that
her
turned
or
into
was
a
that
bird?
Yeah. Okay. And that was
Who
it.
knows?
Then she was cured.
Yeah.
That he really did that magic trick.
That was cool. I knew how he was doing it. Like she kept the same.
I was wondering why
does
he do that, and then I said, then I noticed, the eggs are keeping coming. Okay.
Yeah. So, she was a bit. Owa says she was a bit fishy herself. Okay, so what is your final rating then, Bobo? I'm still waiting.
So anyway, my final rating, I am going to say classic as well.
Oh, okay. Classic.
This, in my mind, is
prediction.
It is one of the classic comedies of all time. And I think, for me, any movie that I would say is a classic in its genre has to be a classic by the rating system.
That's a good point.
Podcast. And this is...
What was... I missed that. You talked over him, Paul.
I was saying he has a good point.
Which was...
Because I did.
That.
Yeah.
What was your good point, Bobo?
My good point was a really excellent statement that I made, but that's not important now.
Nice.
I already forgot what it was. But anyway, no, it was anything that's a classic in its genre should be a classic for the Retro Rewind podcast.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Something like that.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for clarifying.
And this is absolutely a classic comedy by any definition.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not a classic comedy in your mind, I'm afraid for you. Because
I'm gonna have to go ahead and disagree with you there. Because
Bob is going to be afraid of Paul right now. Okay, what is it, Paul? You predicted nostalgic. What is your final rating?
Yeah. Me personally, I wouldn't. There's too much risque humor in this for me to personally recommend it to anybody. You won't hear me say, "Hey, go check it out." But if you enjoyed it before, chances are you'll enjoy it again. And like we said, there is humor that you will like in here. Mm-hmm. So I kept it at a nostalgic. What's the matter, Captain?
So I predicted classic because I remember liking this movie. But yeah, I guess in my old crotchiness, it's not as enjoyable as it once was. I feel like my memories were sullied by it. But not to the point of that I would rate it tragic. I'd still say there's plenty of fun to be had in it. So, but it's not to the level of, say, Spaceballs or Men in Tights, where it's like, oh man, I could just watch that again. I could watch that again. So I'd say it's going to be nostalgic for me as well. So my long sigh was because now we have a tiebreaker.
Oh, good. We get to visit Francisco from the future.
Yes.
Or who's even more crotchety and old.
Francisco from the future. Let's go to you and find out what our awesome patrons at the Rewind Republic level ended up voting to give us a final rating for this film. Francisco from the future, take it away.
Yes, thank you, Francisco from the past. It seems like you traveled far, far into the future. For I'm quite aged now, and what is this you want to know the final rating for? Yes. Airplane, yes, okay. So let me bring up my holographic internet. It's quite fancy here in the future. So according to, thanks to our patrons at the Rewinder Republic level, they've voted that Airplane is nostalgic. So according to the Retro Rewind podcast and our Rewinder Republic patrons, Airplane is a disputed nostalgic film. If you have seen it before, it's worth watching again. But if you've never seen it before, probably pass this one up. Back to you, my younger, youthful self. What?
Wow, I was not expecting to go that far in the future for this rating, but thank you from the future. Do you guys? I'm a little surprised that was the final rating, but what do you guys think? Was that?
I was at first, but now that I think about it, it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
That really stings when you get that. Come back from that. That's ow.
Yeah, watch out for those time fluxes.
Yeah, it's weird. They snap back at you.
Gotta have
Anyway,
a
thank you
seatbelt on.
again to our patrons for that final rating. But now it's time to get back to our own time. Good old 20XX.
20XX.
Comsat online. Receiving incoming transmission.
Flight 209 now arriving at Gate 8. Gate 9. Gate 10.
Feels good to be back at Gate Infinity. But we wouldn't have been able to travel back to 1980 to begin with if it weren't for our amazing reflux capacitors, who I believe are in the white zone. Namely, Jared Holzhauer, Deborah Powers, Brian Keating, Patrick Hicks, LJ Lowry, Chris Cowan, Chris Owens, Geek Devotions, Untold Podcast, James Kennison, Drew of the Cellcast, Ashley Cronbitter, Pastor Dewson, Kenneth N, Redeemed Otaku, Ryan Lingle, that's our Baba. Oh, he's right here. Josh Adams, D. Tungsten. Oh, he's also right here. Andy Lewis, Jeff, Little Ronan, The Dapperman Reviews, Tony from the Retro Days, in addition to 8 other awesome patrons as well. Thank you all so much for keeping the gigawatts coming. And if you want to help us keep flying for as little as $1 a month and get bonus content for your generosity, head over to retrorewindpodcast.com/support to help us grow via Patreon, Subscribestar, or PayPal.
This stream is sponsored by PaulJPowers.com.
And while we're, I almost said it again, while we're supporting our thinkers. I don't know why I say that sometimes. But while we are thanking our supporters, we also want to give a big airline hug to our guests for coming and supporting us with their thoughts about Airplane, the movie, tonight. So, like, let's go alphabetical order like I do. Let's start with Bobo. How can people find you online? Is there anything cool you got going on that people should know about?
No.
Okay, excellent.
Actually, you can find me on Twitter at That's Our Bobo if you're into that kind of thing. It's That's Our Bobo, or That's Sour Bobo if I'm in a bad mood, but you know, you'll figure out the spelling. Bobo, by the way, is 3 B's, 2 O's, because there's just one Bobo. I've been waiting to pull that one out. And,
wow.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool.
I like it.
That's about it.
Awesome.
Thank you. Cool. And Drake, what's going on with you? How can people find you online? Or is there anything cool you got going on?
Well, I do have that DS9 review project that you can find that at ASSEND.net.
Okay, Ascend. Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
it's sort of a pun.
Yes.
Oh, is it? What's it a pun on?
Yes, it means butts up.
Yes.
Okay. Oh. No, Bobo. Whatever. Okay, so continue.
Nothing. What's up with you?
But yeah, it's a little bit crude, but
okay.
that's what it is.
Awesome.
And you can go there and look at that. I've got the first seasons already up there. The whole first season done.
Very awesome.
So,
well, thank you again so much to Bobo and D Tungsten. It's so awesome having you guys be on the show again and for the first time. And a hearty thanks to those of you listening for the first time. And of course, all of you who are a part of our Rad Rewinder community. You all who watch us live every week, whether we're recording this podcast or playing retro games, you're an amazing, amazing group of people helping sustain the pod. But if you are looking for ways to get involved in growing this Retro Rewind endeavor, reach out to us
growing it large. Oh, sorry.
Large. Reach out to us on social media where we are at Retro Rewind Pod pretty much everywhere. You could buy some of our merch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser, become a monthly patron, or simply just share your favorite episode of the podcast with a friend so that more people can enjoy the content of the Retro Rewind Pod.
I've got to concentrate. Hello? Echo. Pinch hitting for Pedro Borbon. Manny Mota.
Right. You've been listening to Retro Rewind podcast.com/228. Our review of Airplane with me, PaulJPowers.com. Apparently I'm an XO, so kisses and hugs are here if you're feeling lonely.
Executive Officer.
Oh, Executive Officer, that too. Maybe that's how I found my way there. Anyway, you can find me online and all my social media links at PaulJPowers.com.
To all you captains out there, this is what happens when you give the XO your salvo authority. Thank you for being an amazing friend, Paul, for another fun voyage. I have been and continue to be the captain of the pod, Francisco Ruiz. Find me on Twitter at FXRetro_, especially if you need a pixel artwork commissioned.
And we are honored to be part of the Christian Geek Central Network at ChristianGeekCentral.com. Captain, we are on final approach to base, wherever that is.
That's good to know, XO, and thank you all for listening. We pray you are more joyful now than when you first hit play. Like a Pokemon, we gotta catch you all for X2 X-Men United, our next episode of the Retro Rewind Podcast.
Retro Rewind mission complete. Proceed to nav point Omega and return to base.
Well, I'll give him another 20 minutes. But that's it.
Hey, do you know what we can do with those extra minutes?
Young Indiana Jones!
Then it is something that man was not meant to disturb. Trust me.
Are you making this up as you go along?
Yeah? You don't believe me. You will, Dr. Jones.
Mission accomplished. Full throttle.
No break. Those people are trying to kill us. I know, Dad!
It's a new experience for me.
Happens to me all the time.
Welcome, everyone, to our continuing reviews of each chapter of the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, our Adventures of Young Indiana Jones. I forget exactly what it's called, Paul.
The Adventures of Young Indiana Jones. We're not reviewing the original Chronicles of Young Indiana Jones that first aired. We're reviewing the since then remastered and stitched together.
So, the quote-unquote adventures. Got it. Okay,
right.
So, and we're reviewing these episode by episode every month in between our Christmas reviews of the Indiana Jones movies, all three of them. Count them, 3 of them. So, Paul, will you tell us which episode did we watch this time, any technicals about it?
All right, so we watched chapter 16 called Tales of the Innocents, and basically this was taken from mostly Northern Italy. It was an episode, called Northern Italy, June 2018, but there was some of the episode called Morocco, November 1917 in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But that was updated. So you want to tell us the plot in one sentence, if you can?
I'll do my best. Indy is doing some double agent stuff, but mainly he's in a battle with Ernest Hemingway for the heart of this Italian girl. And then he kisses a nurse as he's getting healed, and gets shoved off to Africa to then try to find who's smuggling weapons for the French army to someone else.
In Northern Africa? Yeah, that's pretty good. That's impressive.
Thank you. I almost forgot what happened in that second part there. Then it came to me.
Why, did you get to sleep on that? Or we'll talk about that later.
No, I didn't sleep.
Did you watch it at 2x speed?
So let's talk about
Oh, you did.
No.
You traitor.
I watched it at 0.5 speed.
There you
just
go.
to spite you.
A real trooper to make up for lost time.
Yeah, exactly. Just balancing out the universe. Thank you, Babo. All right, so let's go around and just calling out that D. Tungsten, it was my bad. I didn't get the word out to him in time to watch this. But if you have any recollections of this, D. Tungsten, because you said you had watched this when it originally aired, feel free to chime in. But we're just going to do like one thing we really liked about this episode as a whole and one thing we didn't like about it as a whole. Let's start with Babo. What's something you did actually enjoy about either one part of this or both parts of Tales of the Innocents in Italy and Africa?
I'll be playing the role of Ashley this week. Good. Okay.
Wow, I didn't realize you hated it that much.
Well, I'll say I kind of liked in the second episode or second half or whatever the second part of this thing was. I actually did feel some tension toward the end when he said there's a different color of sand in people's boots. Totally. So I was actually like, okay, I'm actually curious to see who's got it in their boots here.
Awesome.
That's it.
Oh, wow.
I thought there was going to be more.
I'm done.
I will say, that's pretty much mine, is that in that second
I like that there were 2 different colors sand.
In that second half, when he's like trying to get away from the dinner and he's like looking for like where are the guns and he has to go in the cave, it felt much more like Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Indiana Jones like set piece or element from like it belonged in it felt like it belonged in Indiana Jones as opposed to
that
so much
second half was much more Indiana Jones. Yes.
Yeah, as opposed to so much of the other stuff. So I didn't quite. I mean, I guess him and the woman. I did not understand why he was with the woman.
There was to escort her so that he could. It would believable that they needed a reason for him to be there to find out how the guns were being smuggled. So he was there as an escort. A reasonable, believable reason for why he was there was to be her escort as she was touring that area.
Yeah, because he was moving at regular speed, not 2 times speed.
Oh. That would explain why you missed some things.
Paul, what didn't you miss? Or would you have missed if they didn't have this in this episode?
So I really enjoyed seeing some recognizable people, especially in the first half with Jay Underwood, which he's the boy who could fly, and a likable character.
And so that is Ernest Hemingway. That's who that's
yes,
supposed to be, right?
yes.
Okay.
But he's also the non-likable character of Bug in Uncle Buck.
Uncle Buck. Is he also the boy who wore tennis shoes, or the computer that wore tennis shoes? Is that the same actor?
No, that was Kurt, not Kurt.
Kurt.
Yeah, Kurt Russell. Yeah.
Kurt Russell?
Was the boy who wore tennis shoes.
No way.
The computer who wore tennis shoes, yes.
No, that can't be right. I must be thinking of something else then, because I know Kurt
Unless
Russell
you're talking like a Disney Channel remake that I never know.
Yeah,
of.
okay. I'll look this up.
It's Disney.
I also enjoyed seeing Smee, Anakin's mother, in that as the Italian mother of the woman they were trying to woo. From episode 1, 2, and 3. She was So that was fun seeing. Huh? Okay.
I didn't recognize her. I know what grandma you're talking about. I just didn't recognize her from anything.
Yeah. Star Wars episodes 1, 2, and 3. Anakin's mom.
Anakin. That the old grandma was Anakin's
not the old
mom?
grandma, the mother.
The mom. Oh, okay. I didn't.
The one who dropped the pasta on the floor.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe she moved by too quickly for you to actually see who it was, because she did use a different accent.
Maybe, Paul. Maybe. Okay. Oh, you know what? So he is. So I don't think I saw this version. Kurt Russell was in a 1969 version of the computer or tennis shoes. I think I'm thinking of this 1995 version. No, that's with Kirk Cameron. That's where you guys were getting confused. Okay, I'm thinking of a different movie.
Okay,
I guess
maybe you're thinking of the infamous original Fantastic Four movie that was never officially released.
No,
because he was Johnny Storm in that.
I have to track this down now because no, this isn't it. This is like with the guy from Growing Pains' dad.
No, that's darn it! There were 3 of them.
Right?
Oh my gosh!
There's several of them. I don't know what it's called.
Not quite human. That's it.
Oh,
not quite human.
That could be it.
Which I would love to review, because I remember enjoying that as a kid. That was Disney Channel. Yeah.
But is that this? Yeah, that is this guy.
Yeah, it's Jay Underwood. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Jay. Yes, exactly. See, I know what I'm talking about.
Do you?
I know what I'm talking about when we get to the things, when we talk about things we didn't like. But before we do that, D. Tungsten, talking about this episode, anything come to mind for you about this one? Do you think you saw it?
I think I did see it. It sounds vaguely familiar, but it's been 30 years or whatever, and it would have been fun to have watched it because it's like the the project I'm doing with the DS9 stuff. Although I only watched like the first couple seasons of DS9 back in the day. I didn't watch the rest of it, so that's all going to be new for me coming up.
Also, the Dominion Wars will be fun for you.
Yes, the Dominion Wars, right? Yes, I haven't seen that bit yet. But I did know there was a Dominion War, but
yeah,
I was aware of that, but I haven't seen it. I have seen a few episodes here and there, like, cause I did see, the Trouble with Tribbles episode, which I don't remember what it was titled, but the one where they go back. I've seen that one, for example.
Okay.
But I don't want to get into the
loved when
there.
young Indiana Jones had trouble with Tribbles.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so it would have been nice to see that again.
Trials and Tribulation.
Well,
yes,
I'm
that's
sorry. I'm sorry, D. Tungsten, for failing in that regard.
No, that's my fault. It's my fault.
No, it's my fault. I'm the captain. I have to take responsibility, so it's my fault. But
okay,
I'm curious, what trouble did we have with this episode of Young Indiana Jones? Let's start with Paul.
Basically what you said before, I liked the last half. It felt more Indiana Jonesy with sneaking around. That first half I felt were the zany adventures of the not Indiana Jones, but
right.
It was. I know they were trying to be light, but it didn't seem worth it. And I missed hearing the Wilhelm scream.
Nice. I gotta say, that's pretty much mine as well. Oh, go ahead.
I will say one thing I was confused on in the first one, when he was pretending to be the one-armed soldier, he was getting shot at. First of all, why are they shooting at a one-armed guy that they know is their spy? And then when he's bringing all the people with him, who's shooting at them at that time?
How far did they go anyway? It looked like they ran out of a hallway in some building and ran about 20 feet, and then they're all hugging each other.
Yeah, well, it was like a little hill. Not much, but apparently there was gunfire from invisible people that we never saw or something.
I don't have answers for you, Paul.
Yeah.
And similarly, I don't have an answer as to why it seemed like that episode was going to start out at least as like a cool war episode where he's doing double agent stuff. And then this is dumb, so dumb. Like, I mean, I've mentioned before, I loathe love triangles. And love triangles in the context of this episode just all the worst. And I saw that it was Ernest Hemingway coming from a mile away.
Right. I saw it at the beginning, and then it was like, well, it's been a while. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it is this other guy that they had the picture of. And I'm like, okay, at least it's not, the boy who could fly. And then it turns out it is.
And it just irked me even more that it was neither of them, that she goes and marries someone. I was like, stop leading these guys on.
Stop it. He doesn't end up with her anyway. So
I don't care. Throughout this episode, this first half, speaking of Ashley, her line, she said I think in the last episode, she said something that you didn't like his constant womanizing. I'm like, I didn't like his constant womanizing.
Oh, with all the nurses? I understand getting kissed by the one nurse, but all the other nurses giving them gifts and stuff?
What did she give him at the end? It looked like a little bag full of his dogs or something?
Like food.
I don't know.
Chocolate chip cookies.
Breadsticks from the Olive Garden. I don't know.
I will say, that's another thing that I liked was the settings. Yes. I love the breadsticks, but it seemed like, okay, they went, it looked like they really did go to Venice for just 5 minutes of transition?
Yeah, right.
But I thought it was great, the settings in it. At least it grounded it in somewhat reality.
That's always nice with these, that they are in location. I just wish the content of the episodes were worthy of traveling there. But
I think,
Bobo, that leaves you. What did you hate most about this episode?
I'll just a quick sidestep. The writer was Jonathan Hales, I believe, who also wrote the screenplay for Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense because there was a lot of sand in both.
Yeah, I have here noted 1 minute 22 seconds. Jonathan Hales is now on my hate list. For anyone watching the live stream, these right here are my notes for Airplane. These are all my notes from this thing. About a full section and a half.
Why did you devote so much to it? Okay,
all right, so buckle your seatbelts, Dorothy.
I kept pausing it out of all the frustration that was building up.
All right, here we go.
I agree. The second thing was definitely better than the first part.
Mm-hmm.
But as you said, Francisco, around the 32-minute mark, where we quote unquote find out that Ernest is the other guy, Ernie. Did we not all seeing that coming from a mile away? Exactly. I mean, that's just standard. Actually, I wrote here standard sitcom pablum. Right. He helps his buddy out with this girl so he can beat the other guy, and then, what? You're the other guy? Yeah. Who could have seen that coming? And then it just proceeds to take about 8 minutes of my life that I will never get back. And when they go to sing and they throw like a shoe out the window, which I was actually entertained by briefly because I thought the lady threw a cat at one of them. I went back and it was just a shoe. Who throws a shoe, honestly? But I'm sitting there and I'm bored enough with this that I'm thinking, okay, if I'm writing this, where do I go with it? One of two ways. Either they fight to the death, which they're not going to do.
Yeah.
Or option two, they decide, we can't do this anymore. She'll have to pick between us. And then how do you get out of that? There's a third guy we never saw. And shocking, there's a third guy.
Yeah, one of the things that you need to do with this series is turn your brain off, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, I'm using it most of the time, so that's...
Oh, man.
But yeah, that was pretty brutal. Honorable mention to when they get captured around the 58-minute mark by whoever captured them.
Yeah.
And the guy was very nasty to them. He said, "You take my country by force. You exploit my people. You degrade my religion, and you have nothing to say." And they're like, "Should we torture him with 1,000 cuts?" And he says, "They're not worthy of so noble a death."
Yes.
So it's like he's really entrenched in the idea he's going to kill these two. And then they'll say, "Well, can I have a last cigarette?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yeah, go right ahead. Nothing could possibly go wrong."
No.
Like, just kill them already.
Okay,
Put me out of my misery.
other honorable mention, they get away, and then somehow all the other people that were captured are on the horses, ready to go to escape with them. Wow, that happened.
That brings up the thing that I absolutely hate.
We already did your tragedy maker, but okay.
No, but you reminded me of when they're chasing a group, they'll kill everybody but the main star and maybe an person that they've introduced, and conveniently not kill them because we're going to capture them instead.
Yeah, so
doesn't make
silly.
sense.
Yeah,
I'm also not excited because when that guy joined them in the second episode, I thought that was Paul F. Tompkins for a second.
Would he be alive? I guess he would be alive then, but
he would have been very, very young.
Yeah, I was going to say.
The Younger Adventures of Indiana Jones.
Wow.
Adventures of Paul F. Tompkins.
All right. Well, that leaves us with, we don't really do a final rating for these, but given if this were the only episode you'd seen, would you continue watching the series from this point forward? Bobo, I imagine very much so. You definitely want to keep watching, right?
You know, this may surprise you, but no. No.
Well done. Well done. Paul, how about you?
I've been so indoctrinated into these that I would absolutely keep watching it now. I mean, maybe it's getting better. Maybe I'm becoming the frog in the boiling water where I don't mind as much now.
Yeah.
But I definitely, even if it was just the first one, I would watch the next one hoping that it would be better, you know? And so the second one picked up, and yeah, I would watch the next one.
I feel like I'd only watch it because I'm now committed. I just want to finish the train wreck and hope that there's some salvageable bits in this. I did like, honorable mention on the like list. They did a lot more sort of future carrying, I guess I'll say, of him saying, "Oh, I want to be called Indy. Yeah, my friends call me Indy, and I'm named after the dog." And they did a lot of that. Sort of
I want to study archaeology.
Yes, it's like, okay, I'm glad you're finally getting around to this. But
16 chapters into it, you finally get into it.
Finally get the exposition we've been waiting for.
Yeah,
exactly. Oh goodness!
And by the way, the next episode or next chapter is called "Masks of Evil," which take place in Istanbul and Transylvania. So that sounds interesting.
Oh, that does sound interesting, actually. Very cool. Okay, well then, that definitely intrigues me. But I feel like, 16 times bitten, all the more shy. So I guess we'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much, Bobo, D. Tungsten, and for you guys and Paul and myself. We bid you all a whoopah.